He ran the state for 8 years, and now Larry Hogan is nearing the end of his term in office. And, leading to his office in the State House, you'll see portraits of past governors in order. You have Tawes and Agnew, Mandel. But Hogan placed the Theodore McKeldin's frame front and center. He wanted to see the man, the only other man, other than Larry Hogan, to have a 2-term run as Republican governor.
Almost no one believed that it was remotely possible for a Republican to win in Maryland.
From Funkstown to Hurlock to East Monument, places had no idea about Larry Hogan.
I told my family and my closest friends and, business associates and everybody, hey, I'm thinking about running for governor. And most of them laughed, or they said, really, what state?
Then that 4th of July parade in heavily Democratic Dundalk.
We got to listen to their concerns. I sat down in we called it a campaign bus, but really was a kind of a ragtag RV. I sat down there. I said, we're going to win this race. I am going to be the next governor.
And there he is, sailing along in Annapolis.
And then we had our first legislative session. We repealed the rain tax. We did all this stuff. And, 90 days in, we had the riots in Baltimore dealt with. And just after that, I got hit with this personal diagnosis.
Exhausted with back-biting pain, come to find out it was 50-plus tumors, cancer all over his body.
Got back to my SUV with my state troopers, and I started thinking about how am I going to tell my wife and my kids. I played this guitar over here, Tim McGraw's guitar. Tim McGraw, I played his song "Live Like You Were Dying," and it kind of was about making the most out of every day you have. And I was processing, so I had to go. It was Father's Day weekend, Friday of Father's Day weekend. I had to tell my wife and kids, and my dad, who was still alive at the time, was coming over for Father's Day dinner. He took it the hardest. My dad's crying at the table. Didn't matter how old I was. I was still his little boy, and he couldn't help me.
But your letters and cards and messages did, and so did Tim McGraw. A guitar with a message hangs. The governor has pledged millions to research cancer centers in Prince George's and Baltimore. And then we went from cancer to COVID.
And, some of the governors were totally shocked and out of the loop, and others were more up to speed. But we left there knowing that we were going to deal with the worst global pandemic in 100 years, and we were going to have to make some awfully difficult decisions. Epidemiologists.
He said he surrounded himself with the smartest people, and he needed to communicate a clear plan to lead Maryland to an economic comeback.
I got all the input I could, and then I made hard decisions. Each decision was hard. If you do this, it's bad, or if you do this, it's bad. We tried to balance lives and livelihoods.
And once upon a lifetime ago, Hogan almost won his first political office by running against longtime Congressman Steny Hoyer.
I was a, punk 30-year-old kid at the time, and we had almost pulled up. It was the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, because the next afternoon we found out we didn't actually win.
Fast forward to January 6th.
A call from Steny Hoyer, leader of Congress. He's in a room with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. They're very panicked. Please send help. The Capitol Police are overrun and overwhelmed.
And as for his transition to Westmore, no problem.
We've already had a great meeting with the incoming governor. Westmore and I spent maybe an hour and a half together, just one-on-one, just the two of us. And he asked a lot of great questions, and I gave him all the straightforward advice. And we're also having his family over to Government House. We're going to kind of show them around. It's all decorated for the holidays, and just get them a chance to see what where they're going to be living. And I gave him my personal cell phone and said he could reach out, talk to me anytime he had an issue. And
weeks left in his term, and he leaves with one big regret.
In spite of all of our efforts, in spite of putting $1.5 billion into public safety in Baltimore City, year after year after year, we pushed for tougher sentencing for violent criminals, and we got no support from the city leaders, city legislators that continue to kill those things. And we have 300 murders every year. People are afraid to be in the city. I'm happy that we now have an incoming state's attorney and a U.S. attorney who say they really do want to focus on the violent crime. But we had 4 mayors and 5 police commissioners that did not want to support our efforts.
And now, to the big elephant in the room, will he run for president?
My wife promised me, she said I have to take a vacation. I'm not good on vacations. I did one of them in 8 years. But I told her I'd take a couple days maybe off, and we're going to take some time to relax and spend a little time with my grandkids and my kids over the holidays. And, sometime next year we'll see what the next chapter is going to be.
Now, I know you waited a long time for the running for the president question. Not only did he not dance around the question, he didn't even make it to the dance floor. Perfect poker face. And we peppered him about, how about a Hogan Liz Cheney ticket? And our photographer, Don Harrison, who's covered the governor every single day for 8 years, said, how about running for vice president? Again, not a hint. So he's going to take his time. He's very upset with the way the country is right now. He wants to mend the political fences and mend the political wounds. So maybe in a year, he'll be back out there on the political dance floor.